Hey guys, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. This is the first in what we hope will be like a series of just chats with artists who come and perform with us. We were really lucky because Adam was able to spend a little bit more time. He didn't just have to jet, which was cool. And the objective is to just hang out and talk, find out a little bit more about the artist, and talk about different sides of what they do, from production to releasing music to just their thoughts on the scene in general. And I think I'll just start out and kind of like get Adam going a little bit, basically, but it's kind of like free form. So, you know, if anybody hears something and has a question, like, I don't pretend to like know how to do this super well or anything, but yeah, put your hand up and, you know, ask a question. No huge objectives here today. Cool? Makes sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so we're here with Adam B. Bravo, and he's from SF, and he performed with us last night at our kind of forward kickoff event. We're here today at the Fridge, which is an awesome little gallery in Barracks Row in DC, and we're super thankful to be here. And Adam, I was just thinking it'd be cool if you could tell us a little bit about your background and musically, and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for coming through, guys. And you know, last night was really fun, man. So yeah, I guess
the police.
somebody actually got on the mic and was saying that.
Really?
I forget who that was.
I think maybe it was Matt.
That would make sense.
No, it was a girl. It was a girl. She's like, "Can I see that? Can I see that?"
Really?
That was Justine, actually. Yeah. She was drunk again. The funny thing is, she does that even when the cops aren't there.
So yeah, I guess to the question. Let's see. Music for me, I guess, started back in school. I mean, I'd always been around music in the house and stuff, like with my mom, playing like old disco records and like vacuuming with like Donna Summer playing and stuff. And my pops was like a big jazz head. My dad's from Japan, and you know, he was like super into jazz when he was in college and stuff like that. So when he came to the States, he like brought some records with him. And, you know, he's always just been a jazz lover, like for, you know, forever. So to this day. So that was kind of my exposure, you know, just in the house, like hearing that stuff, just kind of through osmosis, just kind of, you know, pick that up. And so he'd like always pushed me to play music and kind of got me started in school, like in the school band and stuff. And my hero was like John Coltrane, you know what I mean? Just from him, like, I remember him like bringing me, like one day, like, yo, come upstairs, like, come, let's hang out. And,
Your dad?
you know, yeah, my dad.
Yeah.
And you know, he like put on records and we listened like to like John Coltrane and Art Pepper and like different saxophonists. Like he loved the saxophone. And so kind of vicariously through me, you know, he was molding me into like a saxophone player or something. And so I like picked up on that, you know, something about it just kind of bit me. And so yeah, I wanted to learn how to play sax, you know. So I started in school, like with the clarinet and school band stuff, and then.
Why'd you start with the clarinet?
Well, you had to. You couldn't just, you know. I was like 10 years old, or something. Like.
They made me play the bells before I could play the drums. Dude.
Exactly.
I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm trying to play the drums. Yeah, I quit. I'm not playing the bells, dude. Like the xylophone, dude. Like, this shit sucks.
Yeah, no,
it's kind of cool now that I wish I had stayed with it.
Could have been a great bell.
Xylophone go-go, dude.
But I mean, I think it's kind of like they kind of weed out the guys that aren't serious about it too. I think that might kind of be like
me.
If you can make it through, if you can make it through the clarinet to get to the saxophone, you'll be okay. Because that's fucking nerdy.
Yeah. So so yeah, the first chance I got after like you put in your first year or whatever, I was like, you know, my dad got me a sax for Christmas and like happiest day of my life, you know what I mean? And just like playing around the house, making noise and stuff, and like playing along with records and stuff, and he'd be like, yeah, go play. Like, I'd be like, you know, trying to play and stuff. And there's our late night diner friend. So anyway, I kind of like got into playing jazz like in high school and stuff like that. Like we had like a jazz band in my school. I grew up down in Monterey, which is like 2 hours south of San Francisco. And there's the Monterey Jazz Festival, which is a world-renowned, you know, huge thing that it's like the 40-something year now or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's just every year, like in September. So, you know, all the greats have played there. Like I can't even begin to say how many, you know, people I've seen there. But anyway, being down there, they had a big influence, like in the schools and stuff. And they would like
The Jazz Festival.
the Jazz Festival, the Modern Jazz Festival, and they would like have a group of they were called like clinicians, and they would come into the schools and like kind of mentor us, you know. And these are guys that played with, you know, Count Basie and like Duke Ellington, like some old school cats that were just, you know, they wanted to help us out and stuff, and that was like really a big thing for us. So that, you know, was like a big influence on us and stuff. So that's really kind of where music started with me, like, you know, all my buddies and stuff, like listening to jazz. But at the same time, we were like all into jazz music and stuff like that, but at the same time, it was like, you know, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, like at school, all my other friends that weren't in like playing music and stuff, like that's what we were like singing every word to like Regulators and all this.
Do you have a memorable
all this stuff? You know what I mean?
Do you have a memorable experience of your first introduction to funk,
My first introduction to
or was it kind of
funk,
just a gradual?
I would say it was like with Tower of Power or something,
Mhm.
like at the Jazz Festival one year.
At the fest.
At the Jazz Festival, yeah. And just seeing that, I was like, what is this? Like, I don't know what's going on. I can't stop moving, you know what I mean? Like, just that, like,
Yeah.
like the horn section and stuff.
Massive.
And just looking around and just seeing like the impact that music just had on people. Like people just out of their seats, just getting it, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I guess it'd be kind of like that. But you know, at the same time, all the hip hop and the like rap and stuff that we were growing up, that's all funk anyway.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
definitely.
all those original G-funk albums and stuff.
Yeah.
That's all just funk.
Yeah.
It's just George Clinton reinterpreted by Dr. Dre and stuff. You know.
And now you play in 2 bands,
Yeah.
and you have your solo project.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about like the 2 bands, and then we can talk about the solo project.
So when I moved up to San Francisco, as soon as I was done with high school, to go to San Francisco State University to study film. Actually, I was like big into videos and animation and stuff like that.
It's
And
the Japanese side of you coming in.
yeah, exactly. And I wasn't even really, after high school, I didn't even like bring my horn with me to, like, I was kind of like, all right, I did my music thing, like now I want to do film, you know, I was like totally into that. And so I met, like my roommate was a bass player in the dorms and at the college. The guy across the hall was a guitar player. The guy next door was just a drummer. 2 doors down was a singer. And it was just like, you know, after the first couple of weeks or whatever, I got to talking, and like, they're like, I mentioned like, oh yeah, you know, I play sax or whatever. Like, what? Where is it? I was like, I don't really have it. Why? Why not? Go get it. Like, so the next time I went home, I brought it back up with me, and we started like jamming it, like literally in the dorm room. Like we would like move shit out the way and set up the drum set, and so we started a little band, you know, and we would like play at like all the like college house parties and stuff like that. And then through that, I met this other kind of group that was kind of forming at the same time, and kind of linked up with them, and that kind of formed Bayonics, which is kind of the first band that I've been with them for like 10 years. It's like a 10-piece Latin, funk, hip hop, kind of do everything really. but definitely a lot of like salsa, Latin influence and stuff like that. So that's a lot of fun, man. We, you know, just did a show with a bunch of like Latin American reggae bands. Like we played with Ozo Motley, Wu-Tang Clan, stuff like that. Like, so we kind of it's kind of cool because we do a lot of different stuff, and so we can like cross over a lot of different genres and stuff. So it's a fun project. And then the other group is the Starship Connection, which it's like less than a year old. It was kind of really, I had the idea of like, well, a couple of guys in my other band were like, have you ever thought about playing some of your original productions, you know, live, like with the band? And I was like, man, that'd be kind of cool, you know? And so we had this big show at the Mezzanine for like the Fright Night crew, which is the label that I kind of released my solo music with. And so I was like, man, I want to do something special for this, you know? And so I was like, let's do it. Let's actually make the group. And so I recruited 2 of the guys from Bionics, like amazing keyboard player and the bass player, like straight virtuoso cats, and my boy Tico, who San Francisco turntablist extraordinaire, synth, you know, funk master. Like we're literally like somehow brothers. Like we're on the same, you know, page about everything musically and stuff. So me and him had started doing some productions together, and then so we just formed this group, and it was like our first show was this huge sold out, you know, 1,200 person amazing thing. You know, everybody's like dressed up in suits and stuff, and it just went off. And after that, we were like, man, this is like we got a really great response from everybody, and we're like, wow, we got to keep doing this, you know. So yeah, we've had like a few shows since then, and we're gonna release an EP like very soon next year. So that's like a really fun project. It's like 6 keyboards and like, you know, there's no drummer. The drums are all electronic, you know, like off we run through Ableton, so it's just like a drum track. But everything else is all live stuff going on.
So in that's the band is playing music that you produced and composed.
Yeah. I mean, some of it, it's about, I don't know, 60 or 70%, I'd say, of like my original stuff, and then the rest of it is kind of like me and Tico read together, and then let the guys just get loose on it.
So like each show, it would have like that jazz, like there's some free form aspect to it, like each show will be different. It's not like, here's a studio track, here's how we get through it.
Yeah, I mean, well, it kind of depends on the song. Some of the songs we kind of stick to the format, but definitely some we just bust open and just let people solo, and because it's really fun to like show that side, you know, because a lot of electronic music, you're kind of confined to like the technology or whatever, but when you have like live instruments and guys that can play, it's like the people go nuts for that, you know, because it's cool because we're blending 2 different things, you know. It's like it still definitely has an electronic feel to it, and like all the sounds we're using are like synthesizers and talk boxes and stuff like that. But like when people see, you know, Darren busting loose on the keys and Bob's on the bass, people are like, what is this? And it's so much fun for us because we're just on stage like, you know, like, because for us too, for Tico and myself, you know, we're watching them just like, go, you know, just get it. Like, it's fun to like break those songs open and just let them go. And they're battling back and forth and stuff. And it's a fun thing. That's like the number one word that people get. Like, they're like, yeah, it was just fun. Like, this show was just fun. Like, if people ask me like what genre it is, I'm like, I don't know. It was just fun. You know, it's like, cool. That's great, man. That's like what we want.
Nice.
Did you ever, is there a part in like your musical journey where you were dealing with turntables, you were playing with turntables?
For sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when my first year at State, at university, or maybe it was my second year, I got involved in the radio station. Excuse me. And
is that the one that they had trouble, like they lost the license this year?
No, that's KUSF.
Okay.
That's a sad story, man. they like sold that station to a classical station. It was like one of our only free form radio stations.
Because I've been in that studio years ago. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
What a Future Beats show, I think.
Right, yeah. No, they had all this stuff, man, like the underground hip hop show, the like, you know, experimental show, like all the stuff. Like you'd be driving around and just tune in, like, oh, what? They're playing that Gil Scott Jamie XX remix. Like I was like driving through, like, what the hell? Like this is on the radio right now? And then literally a week later, it was like station sold to a classical station for like $3 million. Someone's like, are you fucking kidding me? We really need a classical music station.
We've had that conversation, like a lot of people in this room, about like one of the things that we feel is holding back just this electronic music in general is the lack of radio play. You know, you go to the UK and Europe and like, dude, in Germany you walk into CVS and they're playing fucking techno. It's bad techno, but I mean they're playing it.
Right.
You know, and even, you know, the Salvation used to be college radio stations, and now even they're dying.
Most of them are all regulated to just online streaming now.
Yeah.
I mean, because I did my time at college, University of Maryland,
Yeah.
and we had a 10-mile radius we broadcasted. And now it's, you know, the cafeteria.
Right. Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
It's not
I
even
think
10 miles anymore?
I don't even think they have it.
Cafeteria.
I don't think they have it at FM transmitter.
You have to sit at one table in the corner. Like, I think I hear something.
I got it. With your antenna.
Yeah.
No, that's how ours was too at San Francisco State. It was like super ghetto. Like you'd have to be on campus to tune in. Like it was, I guess it was online too, but this is like in 2001, where like streaming was still super, you know, basic, like nothing like we have now. It was like, you know, slow and not really working too well.
Back then, what was the, there was an online site, I think that like Beta Groove or something that was based in San Francisco. They were like really big on streaming shows, and that's it, like kind of picked up there. I can't remember the name of the site because it just shut down all of a sudden.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know there was another one too that we broadcast on. But
It
anyway.
would just be cool if, like, I don't know. I mean, internet radio is obviously awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think we all use it. But you still, like, have to, it's not something that you kind of stumble on, you know, like you kind of do with the radio. And a lot of people, you know, they're still just not
I
doing
don't
that.
want to sound like I'm hijacking, but
Hijack.
so we've never really talked about like the lack of vinyl record shops in the area anymore.
Yeah.
So, and I always found those, like some of my closest friends I met through record buying. It's
Totally.
like, oh, all the new stuff comes out on Wednesday night. I'm gonna get there Wednesday night and like flip through the crates. And you see like the same 3 kids every week, and you see them at parties. With radio, college radio, like my experience with college radio, the lineage of what came from my time at that school, it's insane. I mean, do you know Dave Nada, like the Nada Strom guys?
I mean, not personally.
No, like the Moomaton thing, the whole
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Dutch house reggaeton.
yeah.
Dave was a punk rock kid when I was at that station. Like he was in all the hardcore punk bands.
Yeah.
And then like there's hip hop guys that like went on to like big things. So it's kind of like you miss out on that. I don't know. I'm gonna do a show for internet radio. Okay, I'm gonna do the show from my house, and then I'll send it to Beeble Bop in
Right.
North Carolina, and he'll do the next 2 hours from his house. Like you
Right.
just don't get that. I don't know, hang out, meet people type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, do you have people from your college radio days that you still see around like 10 years later, or like are involved in some way with events?
Yeah, I do actually. Definitely. Yeah, there's a few that like some of the first guys I started DJing with, really, like they're still heavy in the scene, promoting, and you know, throwing events, working at some of the spots. So
I think
they're around.
the bigger point of like there being just space that shared, be it the record shop or the radio station, somewhere that's not the club, because obviously you see people at the club and you're dancing and you're getting loose and it's loud as shit.
They're just club friends.
Yeah, they're club friends, but like we have lost in many respects like kind of a meeting place. Like that's the only meeting place, you know, and it's a bit of a shame, and it's.
Well, there's always your mom's house too.
There's always my mom's house.
I see
My mom
everybody
and
over
her
there,
ST.
dude. I hope she doesn't watch the video for this. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about like your creative process and some of the tools that you use and things like that. So take us through your studio. What's your studio setup like?
Basically, it's my bedroom. It's I have a small apartment in San Francisco. So yeah, it's my bed, TV, keyboards. That's it really. So I don't know. I guess when I started making beats, it was just like, free loops on the computer, like just for fun, and then I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like it's so much fun to do. So I just kind of slowly started. Like I got my first sampler, the Boss 303, DJ sampler, and that changed everything. Once you start like.
Well, it's easy to make sexy music when you're in a bedroom.
I guess so.
It works out.
That's when all the
Don't get a
shit
2-bedroom apartment, dude.
Yeah. No. Totally. But yeah, I just kind of slowly started getting one piece every year. Like started with one sampler, then kind of outgrew that, got a bigger one, got a little crappy keyboard, and then somehow, I don't know where like the synthesizer infatuation came from. But I just started like, just really getting into synths and just started kind of getting them one at a time. Like I'd save up or, my mom would get me one for Christmas or something, so slowly I, started getting some cool pieces. So, I like to do a lot of stuff with real keyboards and real synths and try to stay as analog as possible, just because I love the sound of it, like you can kind of hear the difference for me, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't like doing this and clicking.
Yeah.
You know, like, so really I just record audio and like I don't really sequence stuff. Like I use an MPC for my drums and from drums.
From a
Drum. A lot of like samples, you know, from records. Or,
Y'all like techno?
yeah. Some records. And, you know, now I get kind of lazy sometimes. Friends will just give me a folder of like a gig of drums, and so that's kind of easy to like. But I'll still sample them out of the computer one by one into the MPC, just because I like the sound of it. I like to.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, I don't really use quantizer that much when I do like the drums and stuff, unless it's like, you know, real like.
Are you familiar with Jeremy Ellis at all?
Yeah.
I figured you guys would know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
He's
yeah.
a fucking inspiration, man.
Yeah, he's an animal, man. Yeah, I've never seen him live, just like YouTube and stuff.
He's great, man.
Yeah, totally.
We need to get the two of them together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, software-wise, what are you using? You last night you were using Ableton.
Yeah, I used Ableton. I just kind of started using Ableton to, you know, for live stuff, just because it's really one of the only two solutions out there for me.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't use Ableton to produce. I use Nuendo to do my sequencing and tracking stuff. It's like kind of like Cubase or Logic or Pro Tools. You know, it's all the same kind of stuff. So I use Nuendo for my productions. I use a few soft synths, DSTs, like the Moog emulator. I really love that one. Before I had a real Odyssey or like an ARP synth, I was just using the pretend one. But they actually sound pretty freaking good, like if you tweak them right. So those are really like the only soft synths I use. But yeah, Ableton, like when I first started doing, you know, I used to just DJ and stuff, like when I was playing out, and like I wouldn't even really play my own music at all. Like
Right.
I just didn't want to. Like I was just sick of hearing it, you know, already. Because when you're mixing your own music, you know, I have like 20 versions of a song, just like trying to get that kick and bass dialed exactly perfect. So by the time I go out, I don't want to play that stuff anymore. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, but people, like when I was talking to this dude in DJ Lefto when I was in London, and he's like, man, when I go to see a producer, I don't want to see them DJ. Like, there's way better DJs than these producers. Like, unless you're doing like some crazy stuff, like we want to hear your music. Like, we want to see you do something. You know? And I was like, okay, I kind of.
Yeah, I think that's a subject a lot of people don't really think of talk about a lot, because a lot of times people don't even realize the distinction as much as they should between producers and DJs,
right.
like what their skill sets are, and like, you know, the sound that they're known for might sound completely different than when they go out and DJ. Which
Totally.
as you know, promoters, it's tricky for us sometimes because people have expectations of wanting to hear sounds that you know that they connect with that name, and they don't even hear what they're expecting. You know,
Totally.
Which is sometimes a really nice unexpected surprise, but sometimes people can be let down if they're really hyped up to hear a sound.
No, it's definitely happened to me too. Like, oh man, I can't wait to hear them play this song, and it's like, what? It sounds nothing like that at all, you know? And it's like, they weren't in the mood to play that. Like, they did all techno set or something.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, and it also, like, it's kind of like from feedback from promoters and stuff too. Like, they're like, oh, well, you know, we don't really want to book you for a DJ set because, like, that just doesn't sound exciting, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, they want to, I mean, not, like, they're like people, like, promoters don't want to book you, you know, just to do it. Like, they want to see live. Like, it just it has more appeal. Like,
well, especially if the reason that they first were drawn to you was being excited by your sound.
Right.
That's what they're going to want to hear, you know, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. So I kind of, like, it all kind of clicked for me, and I was like, all right, I got to, like, figure out a way to, like, do more, you know, do some live stuff. So I was like, all right, let me try to put a set together.
Yeah.
I really only started doing it about a year ago. In like October of last year was my first like live set or whatever, and I was like against using Ableton for whatever reason, just because watching a lot of people use it is just like, what are they actually doing? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, auto beat match, sync, oh, filter, like, oh, I'm doing all this crazy stuff, like, you know, like all the head not stuff. Not to downplay any of that, because some of those guys absolutely murder, but like, people that aren't using it right is like, man, like, what, like, dude, you know. So anyway,
there needs to be a separation between like DJing with Ableton, which people do and it's fine.
No, totally,
and then playing live.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to see someone on a stage with just a table like this, and you know, a mouse, and just like everyone's staring at you.
Totally.
But you're not putting on a show. You're playing music, and that's fine. If that's how you want to play your music, put them up in the DJ booth so people don't actually have to watch them just click a mouse the whole time.
Totally. But I mean,
it's a boring ass show. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But like, you know, there are people that just, you know, they're not like singing or playing or whatever, but you know, it's Ableton. It really is like a DJ set, but what they do with it is sick. You know, like using loops and filters and actually like doing, you know, different things rather than what's in the song itself. You know? So for me, I didn't really ever want to do that. I never really wanted to like, oh, I'm gonna break up all my songs into like the drums and bass and sequence it all live. For me, it was like, because do people even know you're doing that? You know what I mean? Like, you could be up there doing the most incredible stuff, but like, really it's what comes out of the speakers, you know what I mean? So for me, it was like, I was like, you know, I'm more of like, you know, I was like, well, let me just do like some melodies and stuff on top of it. So I was like using Serato to like play the tracks, and I would have to have turntables set up to play the records, and I would run Logic at the same time with my synths, and like have another keyboard with the vocoder. And oh my god,
it's fun to set up for everybody.
It's just like the first show worked out cool, like it went pretty well, but it was just like the stress of being like, all right, let me cue this record, put the headphones on, all right, mix it, all right, good, all right, turn on the synth,
yeah, you're just non-stop working the whole time.
Yeah, and then you're jamming, and like, oh shit, the song's about to run out. Oh man, I gotta cue the next one up. Like, I want to mix it in. It's like, oh, what am I trying to do right now? Man? This is like, no way. And like, I had one show where it was the turntables were hardwired, like they were like the ones that come down from the ceiling, you know. And there was no room on the stage because there was a band, and it was like, yo, there's no room for you to set up. So I was like over here, the turntables were like back there. I was like, oh man. I was like, and that show was just, it was a cluster, you know. It was a mess, man. And like my transitions were all screwed up, and it was just like,
You didn't count on the 4-second delay of having to go from your computer.
Yeah, it was just like, I'm like going back and forth, and I was just like, oh man. After that, I was like, all right, that's it. I gotta figure out a different solution. And so really, there's really not a whole lot else out there that I know of, you know. So it's like, why don't you just try Ableton? I'm like, all right, man, I'll try Ableton. All right, fine. And then like once I started getting into it, like, damn, you can do. It's a crazy program.
Yeah.
Like you can really do. You can really get crazy with it. Like I haven't even really scratched the surface of it, you know. So it's cool though because I can run like I'm using the vocoder, the internal Ableton vocoder. Like I run the mic into the interface, and then you're talking to the mic, and that comes through Ableton, like and comes out as like the, you know, the synthesized voice and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running my soft synths in there. I'm running the tracks in there, and it's just right there. You can just, it's easy.
So now your live setup is a mic, laptop, and your 49.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll bring my first sampler, the 303,
Nice.
just because it's really, you know, I got a lot of cool samples on there, and like it has a fun delay on it, so you can really like dub stuff out and stuff like that. So that's kind of fun.
Do you see your home production switching, like eventually switching to using live, where you're more comfortable writing in Nuendo?
Yeah, I just like the sound of Nuendo better. I feel like I can hear the difference between like producing in Ableton and producing in Nuendo. So, and plus once you're like comfortable in a certain zone, you know, like with Nuendo, I'm just like I know how to do what I want to do. It's like I don't have time
You're using
to
you're using the tools instead of having to learn as you go, like remembering what you're doing. You're just kind of like using it second nature.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a really intuitive program. It's like, how do I like, you know, do whatever? How do I like want to time stretch them? Oh, right click. Oh, boom, right there.
Yeah.
Like it's just really intuitive.
It's like that for me as a designer too. When I'm working on something creative and I have to be trying to learn a new tool, it's impeding my creativity because I'm held back to what I know of how to use that tool.
Yeah.
So once you get comfortable with a set of tools, like I hate getting new software.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like fuck, this sucks. Even I don't even really use a lot of the new stuff that's available because I'm comfortable with the tools that I have, and I can do whatever I need to do already. So it's like I don't need any fancy new filters.
Totally. No, I feel the exact same way, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of behind really, but
Mm-hmm.
I literally don't have the time to sit down and learn a new program for
Yeah,
a
I mean you
week
could
or
spend
whatever.
every day of your life just trying to keep up, and you'd still be way behind.
I mean, I still work. I have a full-time job too.
Yeah.
You know, like I work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. So
How does that work for you with gigging on the weekends and like trying to get back on Mondays and going to work? I mean,
it's a little rough sometimes.
Mhm.
Luckily, my manager is like the man, so you know he's
Nice.
he lets me kind of do whatever I want.
Yeah,
That's
the
cool.
guest list them, don't you?
Sorry,
You have to guest list them, don't you?
I've offered him, but you know
He demands whiskey.
yeah.
His rider's a bitch.
He's a 45-year-old married Indian guy with a family. He's not. but the cool thing is, like, I work in the IT department for this company, Riverbed Technology, and like people respect me for it, you know, because like I'm known as like the DJ, you know, like around the office and stuff, and like people respect that I'm, you know, doing something that I love and like chasing my passion or whatever. Because you know, a lot of people don't have that, or you know, like
they've always thought about it, but they've never really had the opportunity to act on it because once they get to a certain age, they're like, shit, I can't do this anymore.
Totally.
Even though when they could, but it's like if you don't get started at an early age, it's like, do you really make the time to pursue your passion like that? You know, and like really go for it.
Right.
And
Totally.
I think people get inspired by like seeing that. You know.
Yeah. No. Definitely.
But another thing though is like, we're in DC, even like I grew up in this area and you get a lot of transient people. It's like, all right, I'm gonna be in DC for 4 years, it's career, focus on that, and then boom, they're gone.
Yeah.
Whereas like the times I've been to San Francisco, it's just kind of like, oh, it's awesome, let's be super creative and have fun. Oh, by the way, I'm 45 and I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's like amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a big difference I've seen between the two cities themselves. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's people in San Francisco that probably don't even get started till mid-30s when they get out there.
Totally. Yeah.
And they kill it too. They're not just like, oh.
But then
American Tar
there's
Bro.
also a lot of people in San Francisco that aren't doing much artwork and are probably pretty talented artists because they're intimidated by the creativity around them. And like it happens in Brooklyn a lot too. People go up there trying to pursue being an artist, and then they get really like consumed with worrying about everybody else's work, and they're like, I'm not good enough to do this, and then they don't do it anymore. That's really sad when you see that happen.
Totally, yeah.
But like you can use creativity around you as an inspiration, or you can also sometimes I think people can get too much in their head and be like, I don't deserve to do this. I'm not good enough, or whatever.
Yeah, too like self-conscious and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's understandable too.
Yeah, no
It's
doubt.
I go
But
through
when
the
you're
same thing
surrounded
too,
by like
you know?
really freaking genius artists,
Yeah.
it's intimidating.
Yeah.
So then, do you have? Are you pretty regimented after work? Like, all
Not
right,
really.
we're gonna do studio time. Like,
It kind of depends, man. Like, just depends on
more
the
when
day,
the mood
really.
strikes.
Yeah, like you can't really. For me, I can't really like force it. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
I'll come straight back from work. I'm like, oh my god, I had this idea. Like I turn everything on and like just get in right away. And then other times I'm just like get back and just watch TV all night and just not do anything. You know what I mean? Like if for me, or like I'll like be like, man, I should really work on this track, or like I should make a new beat or something, and like sit down and it's just like nothing. You know what I mean? So it's you can't force it for me anyway.
Do you
Like,
try to
it's
keep
kinda-
your touring to just like weekends and sometimes 3-day weekends, or do you go in like blocks of time where you take off from work and be gone for a few months, and then
I'm-
are they cool about like letting you do that?
Yeah, they're real cool about that.
Nice.
It's like, when I went to, like for Red Bull and stuff, I took
Yeah.
like 3 weeks off
Yeah.
or whatever. Cause it's cool too, cause like I get paid vacation and stuff, so
Sweet.
sometimes I'm like touring and I'm getting paid
Yeah.
like double, so.
Did you just do the most recent Red Bull thing?
I did it last year in London,
Oh.
2010. Yeah,
Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
sure, the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard about it like for years, and I used to be like at work watching the lectures online, because I don't know if you guys are familiar, but they have, they do lectures, 2 lectures per day, and they've been doing it since, I think, 98 or something like that. So there's hundreds of archived videos of, interviews with, everybody, Just Blaze, like,
Yeah.
you name it. But it's all like tasteful, kind of borderline underground people, they're not bringing in like, the like pop stars, they're like bringing in,
Yeah,
they're like really,
they've done an amazing job with
Yeah, it's-
curating that whole thing. you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
it's
Like,
crazy. Like
they're
the
always
two-
on,
the two main
in
guys
touch
are-
with what's going on.
yeah, they're crazy. Like they're always on the forefront of everything. And
Yeah.
they keep it, just the quality just.
I think it's
sky
one of the
high.
best examples of like a large corporation doing something creative and artistic and doing it at a large level and doing it really well.
No,
Because
absolutely.
like how many examples are there of like stupid shit that McDonald's does, or like somebody trying to look hip and cool
Yeah.
that just is totally out of touch with reality, and they don't find the right people to run it for them. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's nobody that does it like them, man.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm so thankful. Like, and they still support me. Like, it's
You've
kind of
got
like
like
once
10
you're in,
sets on there,
you're in.
like
So-
on their radio site. You have like 10 archive sets on there or something.
Yeah,
like that.
they just
It's a
like
good amount. Yeah.
they just like they want to be involved with you.
Yeah.
Like, because the whole academy is like, so you apply, it's like a 15-page application. There's like ink blot questions and like all these crazy, like, the one I remember is like, draw a picture of the musical universe.
Were you
and your
breastfed?
place in it and stuff like that. Like shit like that. And like if you're the DJ at the peak hour of the party, what's the 5 songs you would play? Or like,
Right.
and then at 6 a.m. at the after party when the sun's coming up, what's the 5 songs you would play?
Nice.
And like, just all this crazy stuff, And then like a CD of your tunes and like a picture or whatever. So I just I was like, I'm gonna go for it, I was like, might as well. I didn't tell anybody about it. I just did it all, sent it off. And I remember my mom like saw the application and like, she came to visit. She's like, what is this all about, Red Bull? And I didn't even want to tell her, because I'm kind of superstitious about stuff like that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like talking about stuff before it actually happens. Because
Yeah.
I feel like I can jinx stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't know, I'm just weird like that. So I was like, I didn't tell anybody except for her because she asked. And then like, I got the email and I couldn't believe it. And it was at work. And it was in my junk mail folder.
Holy shit!
I swear to God.
Whoa!
I swear, for
I'm
whatever
gonna go home and
reason-
check my junk mail like today.
account. you know, and for whatever reason I was like, oh, let me just clear this out, oh, let me make sure there's nothing in there, and I was like,
Holy
Red
shit.
Bull? I was like, how do you take your tea was the subject line.
Nice.
And I was like, how do you take your tea? Wait a minute, that sounds like there's something
London.
there, you know? I was like, and I opened it up and I was like, just like,
Wow.
couldn't read it fast enough, you know, like, so anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, just walking on water after that, and then, yeah, I went out there, it's all free, they pay for everything, they fly you out, they put you up in your own, like, 1-bedroom apartment for the whole 2 weeks, you have, like, chauffeurs, food, everything's taken care of, food, drinks, there's like a cafe in the building. Basically, in London, what they did is they bought this building, gutted it, it was like an office building, so built like 9 little studios, a main live room, amazing live studio, you know, full on like recording studio, like top of the line gear, like literally they spare no expense.
Wow.
It's the best equipment. Like they're like, oh, you play saxophone? Oh, if we get one, will you play it? I was like, I guess, you know, like okay, we're gonna get you one. Like, cool. Dude, they had like a string bass, every Moog synthesizer you could want, Junos, like analog synths, a real 808, real 909 drum machine. It was like anything you want.
Did they have like in-house masseuse?
Yeah, really. That's the one thing they didn't have. But yeah, so you know, it's like whatever you want. They have like Genelec monitors, like all the best shit. Like, oh, you need this software? Well, how about tomorrow? You know, like.
Wow.
And so, and they have like the studio techs. Like the year I was there was like Hudson Mohawk and like DJ Zinc and like Marco Passerani.
What was it like working with Zinc?
It's amazing.
Guy's a fucking badass,
Funny.
dude.
He's funny as hell, man. Like just always joking around and
Yeah.
stuff. And like established guy, you know,
Yeah.
like he's so successful at what he does, you know. He's like old school drum and bass
Yeah.
DJ, like
Well, like the
co-founder of,
crossover
like,
garage
Ransom.
stuff that he did, like the whole Bingo Beat sound was like a really big inspiration for me. Like,
Oh, really? Yeah.
coming from a drum and bass background, but kind of moving into that whole two-step era.
Yeah.
But like his take on it was much grittier, like kind of grimier sound, but
Yeah.
with that kind of same tempo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really where I think if it had gone in the right direction, it would sound a lot like what the future garage and future bass sound is now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he was doing that shit years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. Just, I mean, but it's like at the same time, I mean, these are famous guys, you know,
Yeah.
and it's first name basis.
Yeah.
Like, it's just all like they don't talk. They're there to like help out. And,
Yeah.
like, because you know, it's the academy's for everybody. It's like producers, DJs, vocalists, instrumentalists. It's kind of everybody.
Yeah.
And so some people they like are barely starting out with production. They're like a couple guys from South Africa who are like straight house DJs, like his house is huge in South Africa.
Yeah.
And like he's a young kid, you know, he was like 19 or something. And you know, Ben, DJ Zinc, is like showing him like how to make tracks on Logic, and just like the sweetest guy, man, and just it's just all love. Like everybody's there. Like the vibe is really just crazy. Like it's so positive. Everybody's just there to help, and there's no egos. And
Well, yeah, when you don't have the pressure of like, you know, real life expenses for that period of time, I would imagine it's kind of like a weight off your shoulders. You can just totally focus on your music.
It was like literally, it was a taste of the good life.
Yeah.
Of like, wow, this is what it would be like if you made it.
Yeah.
And you're like, don't have to worry about anything else but music and
Yeah.
music. And it was just like the high. You're just on a high the whole time.
That's pretty
And
awesome.
it's like toward the end of it, like people were crying at the end.
No, I bet, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a
They
life-changing
did check all the
experience.
closets to make sure.
yeah, yeah, totally. And actually, that building's still there. It's Red Bull Studios London is still there. I just
They have new
I'm not
videos
sure.
from it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's
There's
something
tons of
they,
shit. Yeah,
Like last week.
yeah. No, it's fully active. It's like I stopped by there to say hi when I was there. You know, and it's like it's all still there. It's like the London Red Bull headquarters now.
So
Did
she
you
knows
come
some
out of
commitment.
that 2 weeks with any like new material that you wrote while you were there?
Yeah, a couple things.
Was it like solo stuff or was it like did you collaborate?
Definitely collab stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I wasn't really able to make as much as I wanted to do there, just because there's so much going on, and like for me, it was almost more of just meeting all the people and just like
Absorbing it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because
and gives you like months of inspiration for when you're back in your studio.
Man.
Yeah, it's like when you go out to Burning Man, you know, you're like surrounded by so many creative people, you just soak it up, and then like you come back in 6 months, you're just like totally stoked and like letting all that out, you know?
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, so basically like to go through a day there, you wake up, it starts at noon, you go to the building, it's a 2-hour lecture with some journalist or musician, producer, DJ, you know, famous people. Break for lunch, come back again for another one, another lecture with a different person, QA sessions, all that stuff. And then you break again for dinner, and then it's open studio time, just like, but that's the other thing, it's kind of hard, it was hard to like get in a studio, because people are like, straight in, like, just hogging, you know, like, just in, like, just trying to get down.
There's 15, about 15 people per session.
Yeah, I think it was 15 or 30. I think it was,
A little more than 15.
I think it might be 30 per term. There's 2 terms.
Did you know of any of the people in your session, like
A
that
few.
were participants before you went?
Yeah, a few. Yeah, like Toki Monster from LA. She was there. Well, there's only 3 U.S. people really. I knew of her a little bit. Who else? Maybe just her, to be honest. But now I know them all like family, man. It's crazy. But yeah, it's like open studio time, collaborating with folks, and then like Ableton Workshop or Flying Lotus, or you know, like whatever you want. Like,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, like open studio time, or like microphone placement on drums, like in the main studio, or whatever, anything, you know, or like with Todd Osborne, it's like dope ass producer from Michigan.
Ping pong with Burial.
It's yeah, stuff like that, and then gigs at night. Every night would be a different. Red Bull would throw a fucking amazing party somewhere in London every night, and the participants would play.
And you're like taken care of the whole time while you're there, for sure.
Oh, the cars are leaving in 10 minutes. Like chauffeurs to the place.
Anything they didn't do well?
I don't know, man. Like,
They could have done better.
Have you found yourself drinking Red Bull after that experience?
Not really. Not really, but when I was there,
Yeah.
just, I mean, because like,
This shit's delicious.
no, I mean, I actually like the taste of Red Bull.
Yeah, so
like,
do
some
I.
people hate it, but I actually kind of like it. Like, I don't really like energy drinks. Like, I don't really like to get all charged up. I do like coffee, but you're in the studio at 4 a.m. and you're thirsty, and there's
like a
ice-
gold bowl of Red Bull.
Every studio there's a little fridge, regular sugar-free cola, it's
Right.
like whatever you want right there.
Did you get to perform while you were there?
Yeah, I had a few different gigs. I did a roller disco with Moody Man.
Yeah, I listened to that whole thing, dude.
Yeah,
That was ridiculous.
That was kind of a little crazy, but yeah. It was
How
much
was
fun,
how was
dude.
Kenny? He's a character.
Dude. Yeah, he's a
He
character.
came here for the inauguration week,
Oh,
and
really?
like the people that booked him, unfortunately, decided to have it the night of inauguration, and people had been partying literally for 7 days straight without sleeping. Like it was the most amazing week the city's ever seen.
Wow.
But by the time the whole inauguration actually ended,
Yeah.
and it was cold as hell,
Yeah.
people were just beat. I was one of like 6 people there.
Oh shit.
And I danced the whole night.
Yeah.
But it was awesome, honestly. Like it could have been just me and him.
Yeah.
And he was like, he didn't even care. Normally a DJ would be kind of pissed, you know,
Yeah,
but he was like so stoked from the whole week and like seeing Obama get sworn in, and he was just like, I'm just happy to be here, man.
So,
you know, and he
that's
just like
dope.
he just laid it down, dude. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, no, he killed it, man. It was just, you know, literally at a roller disco. I was
Nice.
on roller skates and shit, skating around. and he's just a character. He's dope. And then he actually came in to do a lecture the next day at the Academy, and some people have seen it, but it's like folklore now. People talk about that one. It's like, but I was like, Moody Man's you right there.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like listening to him tell his life story and stuff.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he rolled in with his hair froed out, huge jacket, just with like 6 girls behind him. 6 like banging, you know, chicks that he flew, that he had flown
Holy
out.
shit.
And that was his, you know, I don't think a lot of the lectures actually get paid. I think a lot of it's volunteer. Like they'll just fly you out, and because you know artists love to give back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they love to share and help everybody else out. So but I guess what I heard was like his stipulation was, I'll come out, but you gotta fly my girls with me. And so,
That's so awesome.
And he actually brought roller skaters too, like because he was all about the roller disco.
Yeah, because he came up in that era.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they do like a party out there like every couple times a year, or whatever. And so he brought like a crew of roller.
Can you imagine
skaters.
being around in those days, dude?
Yeah.
Roller discos in Detroit? Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit!
Yeah, imagine. And
I want to go
he
beat
talks about
off
that
right
in
now
the
just
interview,
thinking
too.
about it, dude. That'd be
You
awesome.
need some private time in the bathroom.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But like he came out in the lecture, he's sitting on this stool and he starts talking, you know, he's just swagged out to the max. And this girl starts braiding his hair up like while he's talking. She's like, on him, and then the other one,
Dude.
the like motherly figure of the crew, she's
The
like,
motherly figure.
She was kind of like the oldest one.
Yeah,
You could just tell, dude, she had a fucking cognac, Hennessy on ice, straight ice cube, standing up to him. Oh, thank you. That's all I was saying. You know, and like getting braided the whole time.
Oh my god.
Straight face, dude. She was, bam. Everybody was just like.
Oh my god.
I remember Benji B was the one interviewing on the couch, and just like. He was laughing almost at times, like trying to keep it in. He's like, is this really happening right now? You know?
Oh my god.
And sure enough, the whole time he's talking, he said,
Is that lecture still archived?
It's there, man.
I'm gonna watch
it.
that
It's fucking
shit.
great. You'll probably see
Wow.
videos, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No,
That's a good story, man.
yeah, no, it's so stuff like that, you know.
Yeah,
And,
that's
it's
that's the
crazy.
shit you're gonna be talking about for the rest of your life.
Absolutely, all the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and like the one with Abashanti I, he's like this Jamaican, London born and bred, but you know, Jamaican dude. He's like a huge icon in like the sound system stuff out there. Like he has his own system. Like he's been doing music since for 70s and 80s, like doing reggae stuff. But like that lecture was like it was so moving and so touching.
Yeah.
Like his vibe was just so pure. You know what I mean? Like just him talking. Try to go watch those if you can.
Yeah,
just,
man.
Like just what he was talking about was just magical, like
Yeah.
just moving, you know what I mean?
Well, like seeing somebody talk about something they truly love and are passionate about, and that they've been really successful with, is really awesome to see. Because it's like you can see the level of like reward that you get from accomplishing what you really love. You know, and it's like makes you want to do the same thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
So beyond like the inspiration and the learning tools that happen, I mean, how would you say that either RBMA or other things have really helped propel your career as an artist? Like you in the interview blog on the blog you talked about how your Computer Love got released on Brownswood Electric, and that was like the first 12-inch, and I mean, then it was like Be Bravo. Did your introduction to Alex occur? Was that at all part of RBMA or?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I had been in contact with him and Tom McCarthy.
You found them?
No, I think Tom hit me up on like SoundCloud or something. I think my buddy James Epcot, another Friday Night guy, he knew Tom, or like he went out to London and like linked up with them, and I think he had like given them some of my music or something, and so he hit me up on SoundCloud like, yo, we love your stuff, like whatever, and then I was like, yo, I'm coming out to London soon, let's link up, and so that was when I kind of met up with them. But I had actually been, Alex had actually hit me up earlier talking about that, like wanting to use that song for part of the like compilation or whatever. So that was all kind of at the same time. And then when I went out there, like we kicked it and instantly like just clicked with all them, and just, it was like just, from that point on, it was like fam, you know what I mean?
So did you meet Giles Peterson?
Yeah, I went to his show, and we went down to his show one night when we were down there. Great guy.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So where'd you come up with the name Be Bravo?
It's like an old nickname from, like the guys in the band kind of gave it to me. Forget. It was like at a show back in the day. We would all call each other, like we'd be like, buddy, what's up, buddy? Yeah, buddy. All that shit, you know what I'm saying? And so we were playing, I was like playing a solo, and like somebody yelled out like, bravo, bravo. And then like my boy Howard on the mic was like, yo, bravo, buddy, bravo. And then it was like, the guys called me Buddy Bravo after that. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I just hacked off the Buddy. But it was like, I don't know. It was just like I never really thought much about it.
It's got a nice. It's like it's easy memorable because the alliteration and like it's just like it's short, easy. With like it's like a nice memorable sound. I think people don't realize how important names are,
Really?
and not even the meaning, but it's just the way it sounds,
Really?
the way you can remember a name. I mean, yeah, you can change your name at any time, and it's the material that matters most.
Yeah.
But as far as like from a marketing perspective and a branding perspective,
Yeah.
your name is very important because that's how people remember you, and that's how they can tell other people about you, and you can spread your work, your work.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, your material is what matters most.
Yeah.
You could have a Shitsicle could be your name. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, I would still come see your shows because your music is awesome.
Yeah.
But it would be harder to like get selected by Rebel Music Academy if your name was Shitsicle.
So yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, and I totally agree with what you're saying. I just never thought it was. I was like, nah, like I think about it all the time. Like, man, I wish I had a cooler name.
But see, the thing is, like, names don't need to be that cool. Like when you try to be really cool with a name that has all this cool meaning and shit, it's like it just seems forced a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
no more names where like people are like trying to play off other people's names.
I feel
those
so
are
It's
bad.
kind of played out there.
Like
Com Truise is the only one that
Truise
gets the
is
pass.
awesome.
He gets
Yes,
the pass.
he did it. But all this other stuff.
No Mo Barney.
Yeah, I'm so over it.
Yeah.
So we've got like 10 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions in particular? Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, since you come from a jazz background, does that influence your desire to want to incorporate like a performance element in your live shows?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just growing up, like playing on stage and stuff. Like I always enjoyed it. You know, like there's nothing like that feeling. You know, like that's why you do it. Really, like there's just something about it, man. Like just the energy, just you know what I mean. Like it's crazy. So yeah, no, definitely.
And to tag onto that, do you find it difficult, coming from a jazz background, do you want to incorporate like odd time signatures or crazy chords or modes?
Absolutely.
You do?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, like I'm not by no means am I like a jazz musician. You know what I mean? Like I don't. that's like on a whole level of virtuosity that it's just like, you know, you got to practice every day at your one instrument to be on that level. But like that influence for sure, like all the chord changes and stuff, like when I hear stuff like that, it just pulls my ear. Like it's interesting, like, you know, chord voicings and passing tones and all that stuff like that. Like to be able to play like that is like my dream, you know. Like that's why I get so much pleasure with playing with like my boy Darren, just because he's good to sit down and you're just like, what was that, you know? And so,
But like the best jazz for me is always like hearing sounds that don't sound like they belong together, that sound amazing together. You know what I mean? It's like weird juxtaposition of noises that shouldn't work, that just work beautifully.
Yeah.
And like I think that translates a lot over to electronic music and all kinds of music, really.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of like, that's almost kind of like what my sound is, like, if you know what I mean, like not whatever, like it's kind of the juxtaposition of that, of electronic music with like real music, you know, like with that sound, those sounds and stuff.
Right.
You know, that's kind of like, and like those melodies and stuff. So yeah, definitely huge influence, but not like I'm thinking about it. Not like, oh yeah, let's put some jazz. Like it's just kind of what comes out. You know what I mean? So.
Any other questions?
Well, you didn't get the chance to talk too much about your side project, but maybe just tell us a little bit about like what you have coming up, so we can keep in touch with what to look for.
Definitely, yeah. I'm really kind of trying to focus on the Starship Connection.
Yeah.
Just because it's like nobody's. I don't.
It sounds
I've never
fun.
seen anything like that.
It sounds fun.
It's great, man. You know, so I think we're gonna do South by Southwest this year.
Nice.
Like an unofficial thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be out there for that. And then the record starts, self-titled EP, Starship Connection.
Nice.
Is that going to be through Friday night too?
Yeah,
or?
it's going to be on Friday
Awesome.
night. Yeah. Originally we were going to do, it was going to be like on All City, but creative differences happened, so we were like, all right, let's just do it ourselves. You
Yeah,
know?
man.
So, yeah, so.
Well, thanks a lot for sitting down. We
Thank
could
you,
we
man.
could
Yeah.
chat for a lot longer, and hopefully we'll get another chance to. So we're talking about going to the Lincoln Memorial to watch the sunset. If anybody wants to come,
It's actually required that you guys come. Mhm.
yeah. So thanks a lot, Adam.
Dude, thank
Yeah,
you guys.
thanks,
man.
dude. That was awesome. Look up Fright Night, bitches.